Christian Bridges joins us with a closer look at our forecast. So there is a front line, if you will,
That's
moving
right.
through the state that we want to be watching tonight.
Yes, and especially as we get past sunset. I know there's been just this sort of long, quiet stretch. I do expect some big storm activity. The question is how much of Maine gets into it.
Okay.
It's probably not as many of us as it was looking like yesterday, which is great
which is better news.
Which is great news for us. But again, we're still watching that threat of severe storms, at least in parts of the state. Things have been really quiet. We've been in sort of this waiting game all afternoon. And again, the threat has certainly diminished in parts of the state. The thick cloud cover that has been lingering all day, the thick wildfire smoke, which was definitely a bit of a wrench in today's forecast, really has held back that threat in eastern and northern Maine. And I'm not seeing a lot of evidence to support even a good chunk of the state getting into that severe weather. Even the storms that are far to the northwest, these are supposed to be strengthening and moving towards northern New England. They're doing the opposite. They are weakening. So again, the threat looks like it has diminished a good bit, but we will continue to keep an eye on things as we head later into the evening. And a big part of this reason, these enormous, massive wildfires that are burning to the west in Canada. This is just north of Lake Superior. That's Minnesota. That's Michigan right there. And they only really got going yesterday and exploded in size and intensity. So that's why the modeling's really struggled with the severe weather today. This wildfire smoke was not expected to be as thick as it ended up being. And I mentioned this before the break, but it will remain thick in our skies overnight. It will remain thick through tomorrow morning. It will gradually thin out through the day. Skies should be a lot bluer and clearer by the afternoon, but we may have a really weird red sunrise with very milky skies to start off the day on Wednesday. Of course, we're still talking about that severe storm risk anytime from now through about 2 in the morning, but it really looks like after about 8 or 9 o'clock, that risk will really increase. Highest risk of severe weather, western Maine and the mountains, damaging wind gusts of up to 70 miles per hour possible. There's also risk for hail or a tornado, and keep in mind for so many people, there's a lot of campers right now in the mountains and in western Maine, so make sure you've got your alerts turned on in a way to get warnings, or if you've got family there, let them know. Damaging wind gusts leading the charge here. Hail and tornado is a secondary threat. There certainly could be some, but I'm definitely really most concerned here about damaging winds bringing down power lines and of course leading to power outages. I don't even want to show some of the Storm Prediction Center graphics. I feel like they're just not representative of what we're actually seeing out there this evening. Continues to look like western Maine into New Hampshire has the highest risk, with a still decent risk of severe storms into the Lakes region for portions of the foothills. East of there towards places like Central Maine, Augusta, Waterville, Bangor, into places like Bar Harbor. The risk is pretty low. I couldn't rule out a severe storm, but that risk is much lower than it is in western Maine. Still expecting a cluster of storms to develop in Canada, diving down into western Maine and New Hampshire, especially as we get later into the evening, 9, 10 o'clock. Notice to the east, it's just some run-of-the-mill rain or rumbles of thunder. Nothing too significant expected there. Storms will make it to the coast by around midnight or so, continuing through about 1, 2 in the morning. And some new modeling is continuing to hint that there's the potential for a couple storms to linger through very early on Wednesday, maybe 5 a.m. or so. It does not look like it's a guarantee, but it's a possibility that some rumbles continue overnight. The severe threat, though, by that point, likely would be quite diminished. Here's our marine forecast. You can see we're expecting 2 to 3 foot seas tomorrow. Breezy winds out there as winds shift out of the northwest as drier air works its way into the state. You can see on our 7-day, still very warm, smoky in the morning. Going to be a weird day tomorrow, but we'll clear things out nicely by the afternoon. Next chance of showers and storms is Thursday. It's not a big chance. Does not look like a severe weather threat. And then really refreshing weather for Friday around 80, with potentially some rain throwing a wrench into our weekend plans. We'll have to watch that. It looks like overnight Saturday night. Hopefully we can keep it overnight.
Yeah.
And end up with a nice Saturday and Sunday during the day.
Okay, we can hope for that.
We can hope so.
Thanks for the heads up about the smoke tomorrow morning.
That's right. And again, keep those phones and those emergency alerts turned on, especially since it's a weeknight. A lot of people probably going to bed, not super late, so you might get woken up later tonight.
Good advice. You and the team will be on it. Christian, thank you.
That's right.